Welcome back, everyone, to the Real Talk Podcast, episode 12. On today's show, we will start with our weekly box office update per usual. We have a new Avengers Infinity War trailer to recap, and of course, we will get into our weekly Star Wars review this week with episode 5, Empire Strikes Back. Joining me, as always, on today's show is Mike Gillis. Mike, what's up?
Hey, what's up, guys? Can't believe we're already almost halfway done with the Star Wars movies. Last Jedi is coming very close.
Yeah, I know. Well, we just went over the halfway with this one. So, yeah, 2 weeks away until The Last Jedi. It's coming very quick, quicker than expected, to be honest. And joining me again on this week's episode is Jake Leone. Jake, what's going on?
Hey, guys. I'm happy to be here talking some Star Wars again.
Absolutely. All right, so we're going to start with the weekend box office update. A little bit of news within that. And we will start at number 1. The new Disney Pixar movie Coco, making $50.8 million in its opening weekend. Coming in at number 2 is Justice League, making $41.1 million, dropping 56%. Coming in at number 3 is Wonder, making $22.67 million, only dropping 17%, which is amazing considering it just came out last week with Justice League. Coming in at number 4 is Thor Ragnarok, making $16.8 million, only dropping 22%. And rounding out the top 5 is Daddy's Home 2, making $13.2 million, only dropping 8.4%. Mike, just looking at the top 5, what stands out?
Justice League is it's shameful.
Yeah.
It's so shameful because Wonder and Justice League came out the same weekend, right?
Yeah,
and
both
for
last
Wonder
weekends.
to only lose 17 and Justice League 56, that's ridiculous.
They
have
insane.
Lost so much money on
It's
this
made
movie.
$174 million domestically, which does not even cover the budget, and we haven't factored in costs of actors, directors, marketing is probably up to $200 million, to be honest.
That's a big blow for DC.
Yeah, so I remember reading a report, I mentioned it last week, that this movie could lose Warner Brothers $100 million, and this weekend did not do it any favors.
I don't think they care, though.
Yeah,
You don't think they care that much?
I don't think it's a big deal for them. I think that they just wanted to throw these characters together as fast as possible so they can make more movies.
Yeah, but if it doesn't make any money...
I mean, I get what Jake's saying about how they were just trying to rapidly set up their cinematic universe, but I think from an executive standpoint, when you have a property like Justice League, never been done before, this is not a remake, this has never been made before, and just with that name alone, I said should make it $200 million opening weekend. The fact that
It hasn't even made...
The Last Jedi is tracking for $200 million opening weekend. That would be more than this movie has made in its 2-week total so far. Probably over its 3 weeks with the rate it's declining. And it's just not good news for Warner Brothers because, yes, they want to get their movies out, but they can't just be taking from other movies' profits for the budgets of these movies.
Yeah.
That's where it gets tough.
Yeah, it kind of sucks because you're not gonna. I'm sure we're gonna see more DC movies, but they might. Do you think they tone down the budget?
I think I was just thinking that, and I think it might be a necessary evil for this movie to make not as much money, considering maybe force them to work with less money.
Force them to use less CGI.
Yeah, exactly. Look at Deadpool.
Yeah, true.
Deadpool didn't have a huge budget. It forced them to create a good story and work with what they had, and there weren't any glaringly bad CGI issues in Deadpool, maybe like 1 or 2.
Yeah, but it was a huge success.
Yeah, exactly. And it was more about the story there. I think
all the DC movies have had that. With
I
CGI.
think that's their biggest problem, though. I know a lot of people want to call it CGI fests, but they need to just make better stories.
Yeah, write better stories.
They have so much material to work with, and it's just adapted so poorly. Yeah. Death of Superman storyline is an amazing comic book arc. They threw it away. They dropped the ball with that.
15, a 5-minute scene for that whole story arc?
Yeah.
It's absolutely ridiculous.
5-minute scene where Superman just goes, nah.
Yeah, he just decides he'll just go back to his ranch in Smallville for the time being. Yeah.
Absolutely ridiculous.
One interesting thing. Do we know what the budget was for Coco?
I will check that now.
Animation budgets are usually pretty big.
It hasn't been announced yet, but it has already made $157 million worldwide.
That's a lot of money.
Basically this opening weekend. And yeah, so I mean, Pixar movies, I'm not too familiar with their box office. I'm familiar with the movies themselves, but you would expect them, just with Disney Pixar attached, to make between 50 and $100 million opening weekend.
It's also
so
good that new IPs are getting praise.
Yeah, for
because
sure.
like Pixar has been relying on old IPs recently with Finding Dory and stuff.
Yeah.
So now
This is their first original in a little bit, right? If you exclude like the Good Dinosaur.
I guess
Because the Good Dinosaur didn't get crazy praise. I think people said it was all right, but
it was all right.
It wasn't Pixar standards.
Yeah, Coco has gotten like 98% in Rotten Tomatoes. I think it's really it's up there for Pixar.
Yeah, for sure.
It actually looks pretty good. I kind of want to see it.
It does look decent. I've seen I think one or two of the trailers.
Animated.
Yeah,
Pixar. It will be another classic for this generation of kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I particularly I don't know. Frozen's kind of so overrated in my opinion.
You think so?
I do think it's overrated.
That's not Pixar though, right? That's
no, it's just Disney. Because there were people talking about how in front of Coco there was like a 30-minute Frozen short.
Really?
And people hate it. They say like it's not fair to Coco, such a good movie, to be like you have to wait through that to watch Coco.
I feel like people like Frozen for the most part.
It's
probably,
children
probably
like Frozen.
The minority group.
Children like Frozen.
Yeah, but the minority group doesn't want to see the Frozen.
No, I think Frozen's overrated.
Frozen's a cash cow though, so there's no reason not to make a sequel to that. I want to talk about Wonder real quick because the fact it only dropped 17%, I believe.
Insanity.
That's
for a drama like that too.
Yeah, and the fact that it's its second weekend, like I know I mentioned Thor Ragnarok only dropped 22%, but we're coming into fourth, fifth weekend now. Yeah. Wonder in its second weekend dropping only 17%.
That's very good for that.
Insane because it made
had a good marketing campaign.
Yeah, really good. What you mentioned last week, the social media push with just like Instagram ads and stuff like that. And yeah, it looks like a decently feel good story, right?
Yeah, that's a heartwarming story, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah,
good for the holidays.
Good for Wonder to be making money. Anything else in the top 5? Thor, Ragnarok continuing to stay in the top 5. Yeah. Marvel, always making money.
Yeah. Looks like Murder on the Orient Express has been triumphed by Daddy's Home.
Only by $40,000. Oh, okay. So not too much, but still, the dads, people loving the dads people like the dads more than the murders, apparently.
I was just thinking about when Star Wars comes out, the same day as Star Wars comes out, a John Cena animated
Ferdinand. Yes.
It's gonna get killed.
It's going to get trampled.
Can you imagine going to a movie theater to see John Cena animated over Star Wars?
As a bull?
It's insanity.
The Shipwrecked or something like that came out.
It shows.
Why do that? Why do that to your movie?
It's the worst decision.
It's very stupid.
Nothing should come out in the 3 weeks between when Star Wars comes out and the 3 weeks after, because it's going to make 100. It'll make more than Justice League did its opening weekend, and it's like third.
No, I don't think.
I think audience members are more likely to see Star Wars twice or even 3 times before they see Ferdinand.
Like, I heard people are mad because it took this classic kids' tale and made it modern with
it's based on source material.
Yeah, it's based on source material.
Jesus Christ!
It's I don't know. It looks bad. They got twerking horses in the trailers. Oh no.
Well, I will not be seeing Ferdinand when it comes out. I will be seeing The Last Jedi, like everyone else. All right, so that's gonna do it for our weekend box office update, and now moving on to our Avengers Infinity War trailer review. This trailer, we knew it was coming out today. They announced yesterday. The Russo brothers had been teasing for a little bit with just posting numbers on their social media. People were wondering if that meant weeks, days, hours. It turned out to be just a few days. We got confirmation yesterday that the trailer was going to drop today with a little snippet from Tom Holland, actually. I found this very funny. They released the poster, not the big amalgamation with all the characters, which we will get probably a month or two before the release. Just the Avengers A, as they've done with the past 2 Avengers movies.
Purple?
It was like a glossy, purple, green, basically Infinity Gauntlet-y. Yeah. The first one was very slick. It was just the Avengers A and navy blue. Second one was the very Ultron design.
Yeah, this one, the red and stuff.
This one isn't as complicated as the Ultron one. It's more slick again, but it's got the hint of the chrome colors behind it. And this poster, before we talk about the trailer, I found this poster reveal to be very funny because I find it to be obviously staged, but it was still funny nonetheless. Tom Holland had a Instagram live stream where he was just talking, and then he said he had a package to open from Mark Ruffalo. And so he opened the package, and the first thing he took out was a poster, and he's like, oh, look at this. And it was like the first reveal of the poster, and he shows it to the camera. And then he lifts up a letter along with it, and he's reading the letter, but on the other side it says, Marvel Confidential, do not share with anyone.
Yeah.
And so he's reading it, and then he reads, and he goes, oh shit. And then he like ends the live stream abruptly. I mean, I doubt that it was an accident.
It's funny. Considering, it's good marketing.
Considering the trailer came out the same day, it would only make sense they would release a poster. But I found that kind of amusing for just Tom Holland.
Known to spoil things.
Him. It was Mark Ruffalo too, who like low key hinted that we might be getting the Ancient One and Tella in this movie, even though their inclusion doesn't really do anything to change my excitement that much. Yeah. It's literally every character's in this movie. Yeah. But I want to get into the trailer. We saw this trailer around, what was it, third block of school today?
During concert choir.
This trailer like just warms my heart.
It's very nice.
Because it sounds funny, but
a fresh breath of air from Justice League.
Yeah, because in the world we live in now, in terms of movies, we get so many superhero movies, and there's always a conversation about superhero fatigue. Are they going to go away like the Western, as what Steven Spielberg said that superhero movies will fade away? And honestly, after Justice League, I was getting a little sick of the whole, here's the bad guy, here's this faceless army, beam shoots up into the sky. I was getting a little sick of it, but to see all these characters back together, characters that haven't been together, in just little snippets of scenes in a 2-minute, 20-second trailer, it made me smile. It gave me goosebumps at times. And I don't want to really do a big comparison to Justice League, but I will say one thing. It's amazing how far previous establishment of characters can go when we see them for the first time together. Like, how am I supposed to care about Flash interacting with Batman for the first time when I've never seen them individually? And then in this trailer, I'm excited to see Wong interact with Mark Ruffalo as Bruce Banner. I know it sounds silly, but like I'm like, oh, that's Wong from Doctor Strange. There's Mark Ruffalo as Bruce Banner, not from a solo movie, obviously, but just from the MCU in general. This trailer, I have a lot to talk about, but I'll turn it over to Jake first. Jake, what stuck out in this trailer?
I think, for me, the biggest thing in this trailer was, like I knew Captain America was going to be in this movie. Everybody knows he's going to be in this movie. But when he actually comes out, when
I was smiling.
I was like, get this man a shield.
Get this man his shield.
Yes, I'm ready to see this movie.
Fully bearded.
Ready to go.
Yeah.
Like, that got me going. That was the moment when I was like, come on, let's go right to May right now.
Yeah, honestly, Captain America's introduction was phenomenal. At first I thought he was wearing like a black espionage suit, but you realize, no, it's the original Avengers suit, just tattered. And it's just the star has been ripped off, the stripes towards like the torso is all faded.
Which is symbolic and just cool.
Yeah,
symbolic
honestly.
For his character,
Mike, what stuck out in this trailer?
Tony Stark sneaking around.
At the beginning?
Yeah, that's kind of cool. Like
how he's like kind of keeping to himself.
Yeah. He's not very Tony Stark-esque. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I feel like something catastrophic is going to happen early on. I feel like it might be Pepper Potts dying. I'm not positive, but she's going to be in this movie, and I don't know where she would pop up again.
I feel like it could be Spider-Man getting injured.
Yeah, we do. Now, I would never watch the leaked Comic-Con trailer, but I heard a report that in the leaked Comic-Con trailer, there's Spider-Man is on the ground and he's injured.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, Tony. I'm so sorry." And like he might have felt that he failed him or something.
Maybe he failed saving Pepper.
Maybe. Oh, that would. Oh, the feels in that.
Yeah. It would be a great way for her to get out of those movies. She doesn't like doing those.
But I feel like she's already fulfilled her contract obligation. So I feel like she did sign a new contract. And honestly, what else is Gwyneth Paltrow really doing right now? Is she
talking to her kid Apple?
Jeez. Yeah. And the maybe not opening set piece, but an early on set piece that they're gonna have with the